Hello, welcome to Electric Trekker Creations. Today's video is part of the Friendship Trains Gothic Collaboration. I'm going to attempt to make what looks like a little message in a bottle. Make it look old by crumpling it, roll it up. I don't know why I have gloves on while I'm doing this. It is not making my life easy at all. But it wouldn't be me making this if it was making my life easy, would it? Now then, here's hoping this still fits in there. Yay! Isn't that the cutest thing ever? I don't want this to rise and I don't want any air to come out. So what I'm going to do is fill it with UV resin. I think it's a good job that I speed you through this bit because there is a lot of noise outside and I can't have the windows closed because obviously I'm playing with resin. Then cure it. Note to self, do things round the right way, i.e. put UV resin in first, then put the bottle in. Oh yeah, and you should be wearing gloves for this. It doesn't need to be completely full, it just needs to be so it's not gonna rise up. Let's move it around again so I can try and get rid of any air bubbles in the UV resin. I'm going to pause you while I put it under the UV light. While we're waiting for that to cure, I'm going to stir up the resin, 100 of A and 100 of B, and I'm going to add in this glitter. It would appear I forgot to press play, or record even, so basically I changed my mind about the glitter. I used white mica, which is quite cool, this brown to marble it. I just did a couple of drops, lightly stirred it and poured it in. I'm now going to spray with alcohol to try and get rid of some bubbles. Just going to put this in the G3 now. See you after it's done. Hello, time to unmold the skull. And a few extras that I did because obviously I made too much resin. First off, this little ghosty that was in one of my previous videos. Oh, I quite like that. And my favourite extras mould at the moment. Wings are so cool. So cool. I do like that. I hope the big one looks that good. But I got some deity ones too. Now on to the main event. Here's hoping we have no bubbles. Fold your mould the right way round, makes them last longer, and then da-da-da-da-da. Oh, he is cool. Okay, I should say that there are some bubbles on the back here. I don't know if the camera's picking them up that well. And down the sides, it's probably a little bit deep to pour with the resin that I used. It's a no-name resin off of Amazon. I'll link it below. So I'm not quite sure, but I think I've decided I want the skull to be on some sort of cushion. So I have this material and I think it's quite gothic-y, so I'm going to sew a little cushion for my skull to sit on. I will speed up the process. Sorry for the quick run off and break there. I currently have my daughter and her husband living with me because, well, it doesn't matter why, but they've brought their dog and their two cats. And one cat, which they've had the longest, and you would not believe she's an ex-street cat. She is so cool. Her name's Gigi, and she is absolutely adorable, and when she wants it, she adores being stroked, etc, etc. She is just lovely. And they had a property up in the boonies in Portugal. And whilst up there, this tiny, tiny, tiny little black kitten came visiting. And they basically have no neighbours for a kilometre all the way around them. So this is obviously a cat that's been abandoned or is the kitten of another street cat. Anyway, so he shows up. They've called him Lemmy and he's black as midnight and absolutely beautiful. He wants to play and Gigi, it turns out, is quite ancient and she is thoroughly not interested in playing at all. Gigi is just like, I said no. And Lemmy is just completely full of energy. Anyway, Gigi had decided she'd had enough of Lemmy and was basically telling him to go away. And he was like, but I'd like to play, please. Right, now, there we go. And I think him sat there is quite cute. So I've got some scraps of material that I'm going to put in here to make it look a little bit plumper. Then I'm going to basically put it in resin. I'm probably going to UV resin over it just to make it less likely to give off bubbles. Let me chop these scraps up into small pieces so that I can get them in there. See you on the other side. And anyone worrying that I'm cutting up all this wonderful fabric, I have quite a lot of this fabric, and these were just offshoots that were not really usable for anything that I would make. Right, so I'm going to resin this so that it stays solid and hopefully does not let out tons and tons and tons and tons of bubbles in the pyramid. Now I'm thinking about it, I should probably have propped this up on something, but can't do that now. So bear with me. You're probably shouting at me, you've got the mat upside down. And I did have, because sometimes I'm a little bit dull. There we go, let's try this again. So this is now my pillow. It's sealed in resin and hopefully means there won't be a ton of bubbles coming out. Here's the skull, and my skull will sit on it like this in the pyramid. Not quite sure which way up he's going to sit, but it will fit in the pyramid. This is the pyramid stand that I have. I'm going to have to clean it out. When you get pyramids, you get the pyramid stand and then you put the pyramid in. This is the first pyramid I'm making, and I have been told that if you don't put something between the pyramid and the stand, you will never get the thing out. That's why I put the paper there, because I don't have any mold release, and the thought of me bringing flour into my craft room is enough to give me nightmares. I am such a klutz that, you know, it would not go well for me. When this pyramid mold came to me, it actually came broken. As in, really broken. So I've made this, and I'm hoping that this works. Going to mix up the resin, then I come back. I'm only intending to pour a little way because I don't want the skull to be right down on the base there. I want it to be a little way up. So I'm going to put just some plain resin in the bottom, just so that he stands up. I suppose I could try suspending him. How would I suspend him? Okay, I think I'm going to try suspending him. Back in a second. I'm going to do purple and Sigwon epoxy resin colouring. And I'm just literally going to do maybe 2 drops. See what colour that goes. I literally just want it to be a tinge of colour. You'll be able to see everything through that still. So yay. Make sure all the alcohol ink is actually mixed in. Give that a spray. Give this a spray. It's Resin Pro Transparente. I have jimmied this up. I ended up UVing the string to the back of the skull because obviously the glue I used and I tried super glue were not strong enough. I'm trying to make sure that the skull sits a bit central and is actually facing one of the windows or one of the sides. That looks about right to me. Now, the skull is tilted up this way. So what I'm hoping is when the resin goes in and the skull floats a little bit, it'll kind of straighten itself out. And if it doesn't, I'm going to see if I can just put a little bit of weight on there to try and make it straighten a little bit. We're going to see how well that goes. Okay, so spray the resin just in case, see if I can get rid of any bubbles. Spray the inside of the pyramid and hope it doesn't leave any mark. Pour this in. And then spray that again. Now I'm going to see if I have something that I can put on this that will make it do that. Well, that may work. I'm hoping like mad that it does. And I will see you. So I will stay here babying it for a little bit. And yeah, see you guys when it's ready for the next level. What I'm going to do is I've just stuck this cross on here. Then I've got this chain. And I'm going to take the two ends. Let me just check. Yeah. Okay. So using the tweezers, because otherwise I will stick my fingers to this, which is not a good idea. Little bit of glue there. And I want to stick this chain to it as though it's linked with the cross. And then I'm going to go around and I'm just going to add little bits of glue to hold down this chain as though it has been slung on the pillow around the skull. And the two ends being like this are perfect because the chain is broken. Just going along the edge here, because I think if I just glue it in some parts, then when I turn it upside down, the other bits are going to hang. And obviously the chain levitating is not the look I'm going for. So I'm hoping that this glue will hold the chain in place long enough for the resin to cure, and then it will be held in place forever. And no levitating chain. Okay, so I just wanted to show you the pillow that the skull is going to be resting on and the chain going around it, and it's going to go in that way. Back in a second once I've mixed up the next lot of resin. I'm going to pour this in. What I'm going to attempt to do with not enough hands is pour a little bit of resin over this in the hopes that it will reduce any bubbles. There we go. So I will be back when I'm ready to do the next layer, which will be in about an hour and a half for me and about there for you. So there was a little bit of an accident while I was away. This moved, basically fell here, so this side is a lot lower, but that's fine, I don't mind. I'm going to put this on here to hold it down. I'm going to do the next layer, and I don't know if you can see, but I've put the bottle with the message in just here. What I intend to do around here is I have these lovely glass beads, and then I have some beautiful black ones. And so I'm kind of going to mix them up together and put them in as the base. I'm going to mix up some more resin, add those in, and then come back. Forgot to say, while you were away earlier, I realised I hadn't mixed in the purple, so I added in a drop on either side and swirled it up, and hopefully that's come out okay. We shall see. I left this overnight. What I did was I put a cover over the top and a chopping board to hold it flat, because last night when I left it, it was kind of rising up. So there's a lot of overspill, I'm sure you can see, which I'm going to need to cut off. Before I do, you can see there's these bits where the resin has actually sunk down. So what I need to do is put a back coat on here. I'm going to try and cut off some of this excess first, because I would like, I would not like to add to the overflow, basically. So I need to take this extra off. So I'm going to do that and come back when it's ready to demold. Okay, so it's time to demold now. As you can see, this layer, it's not exactly flat. It's not an issue. I'm going to put cork backing on it. I had to take the stand off because the resin went through all the breakages that were actually in the stand. I mean, it came out pretty easily enough, but yeah. So it's time to demold. I'm just gonna pick that off, lift this up. And there we have the pyramid. You can see that the sides are not totally straight. I'm going to find something to put against there. Not for the glamour shots, but later. I'll just go through and cut all of these off. I'll speed you through this bit. There are not as many sharp edges as I thought there would be. Let me just turn this upside down so I can get into this bit here. And this is obviously a bit sharp where it went a bit weird. I'll take the big bits off and then I will file the rest. Or I'll go around with a file afterwards. Let's just shift all of that. I'm happy with that. Excuse the ring light. Okay, I have some levitating chain, which I was worried about. But you can see the beautiful purple in there. You can see the skull. There's the cross with the chain. It is levitating a bit, but I can't really do much about that. You can see the different types of stones here. You can see the sparkling ones. As I said, you can see the purple, and then, you know, it's not a flat, pale skull. So as I said, I'm really quite happy with that. The message in a bottle that I spent so long on trying to get to work and hide in here seems to have vanished without a trace. Can you see there's a very big bubble just there? Trying to remember where the bottle should be. See if I can actually see it anywhere. Nope, can't see it. You can, I don't know if you can see here, you can vaguely see a line here. Depends how you, how you look at it. I can, looking at it, like really thinking, I can see the line there where the next thing was poured in. But, you know, for my very first attempt at a pyramid, I'm really quite happy. And I do think it looks quite gothic. The skull with the skull on the cushion that's also got skulls and roses, and then the cross with the silver chain. I'm quite happy with that as a Gothic representation. I shall go and get some glamour shots, and I will hope to see you on Monday. I don't know what I'm doing yet, but I'm very happy with this. Please like and subscribe and hit the bell to be notified of any more videos coming out. I'm hoping to deliver videos every Monday at 5 p.m.